So here's a quick video of my 67 Galaxie 500 convertible. It's got a 390 with a 2-barrel, C6 trans, Ford 9-inch rear. Has a little over 80,000 miles on the odometer. Motor runs great. Transmission shifts perfectly. Rear end is perfect. It has headers with a custom Flowmaster exhaust. I used Flowmaster 50s, and I had a local company custom bend up the exhaust, and you can see in the pictures he did a great job. I have US Mags wheels with Mickey Thompson street comp tires that probably have, I bought them brand new for the vehicle about 4 years ago, probably have 5,000-6,000 miles on them. The convertible top was new when I bought it 5 years ago. The top frame though needs to be adjusted. You have to push up on the frame to be able to close the windows, but I never take it out in the rain, so the top has been up maybe 2 or 3 times in the 5 years I've owned it. Has 4-wheel non-power drum brakes. I just had it in the shop this spring. They did a bunch of brake work, put new front shocks on it. I've also had Doug's Performance in town get the motor running just right. So the motor runs really good. The big issue I have with the vehicle is I get about 30 minutes of run time before the lifters start ticking. And I've been told it could be a fuel pump. I've been told it could be bearings. I'm not too sure, but otherwise the motor runs really good. I get your standard drips on the garage floor. I keep a couple oil sorb pads underneath it, but no, it runs really good. So let's take it for a spin real quick and I can show you. Interior's in good shape. The seats are in good shape. Door panels are in good shape. The dash has this dash pad cover that's all rippled. The horn doesn't work. Actually, most of the gauges don't work. I depend on these aftermarket gauges down here for temp and oil. I calculate my fuel mileage and fill the tank, but otherwise the speedo works. It's about 20 miles an hour off. And then like the high beam idiot light works as well, but none of the other gauges work. It's got a nice JVC stereo, Bluetooth, USB, and with there's 2 speakers carved in each door. But it's got a great sound system, sounds really good. So yeah, let's take it for a spin here. Let me find the keys. So I started it up, and this just a little bit ago I ran down the block and came back and parked it, so it should still be kind of cold. Fires right up. Sounds awesome. It's got a great big block tone to it. So the front shocks, I had him put on a new set of shocks that have like helper springs with them to raise up the nose, because you can fit 6 people in this thing, but when you do, this thing is weighed down, so the nose is down low. It's when you turn lock to lock with 6 people in the car, you can feel the wheels rubbing up front. So he put on the new shocks with, they have helper springs built in. They're not like coilovers, but they raised the nose about 1 inch, and that worked perfect. The rear has air shocks on it. It's looks like a 3-link with coil springs, and then it has air shocks, so you can adjust the rear height. I got them up quite a ways because I carry a lot of people quite often in this, but it's real easy to change the stance. Just hit the little air nozzle in the trunk, and that you can raise and lower it pretty easily. I'm about to turn on a pretty main road. Actually, I'm going to stay right. I'm on Gratiot, and I can get up the speed here. But as you can see, it just runs beautifully. it floats more than anything. You know, this, you really have to use both feet on the brake because of the four-wheel non-power drums, but that's why the brake pedal's 9 inches wide too. It has power steering, and it's really over boosted. I mean, the steering is just numb. It's tight, as you can see. You know, I don't got a lot of play in the wheel. When it was in the shop in the spring, I spent about $1,300 on brakes. He did some the shocks, and he did some steering work too. I think it needed a tie rod or something. But again, this thing floats like an old 55-year-old boat. You're not going to win any autocross races with this. It's more of a cruiser. Got great torque, great pickup. So right now it's reading 65. I'm probably doing 45 to 50. So here I am hitting the brakes kind of heavy. You know, you gotta see, I'm not even standing on it. I got like quarter pedal right now. I had a ton more pedal, but no, the pedals were good. The blinker, you have to reset yourself. I think that's just kind of the way it was with old cars. I got some vents. Heat does not work, nor does the blower. In fact, the hoses are not even hooked to the heater core. But again, this is my summer cruiser. Never needed heat, never needed air. I really didn't care. So, the body, you can definitely tell, has been resprayed, and it's tough to tell from photos and videos, but there's parking lot dings kind of all over it. Lots of dings on the fender tops, you know, from people leaning on it over the years. But when I say it's a 20-footer, it is. It's a good 20-footer. You know, I'm not going to win any car shows with it, but it's a nice, reliable vehicle that can get me locally. But I've tossed around the idea of maybe just getting a new short block just to throw it in it. When I first got the vehicle, I noticed it would overheat. So I spent some time. The cooling system is a nice cooling system. It had an aluminum radiator. It has a mechanical fan, and then it has this switch for an auxiliary fan. I call that my parade fan, because I've been in a lot of parades with this, you know, homecoming and stuff. So you're idling behind floats and stuff, and it can get kind of warm. But it used to overheat when I first took it to the performance shop, when I first got it to give it its once over, because it was running like crap, stalling, smelling gas really bad inside. It was awful. So he went through it, rebuilt the carburetor. This has some sort of weird warm-up mechanism where there's a plate between the carb and the intake where coolant runs through it, and that was leaking like coolant right into the intake. So he fixed all that. It's working correctly. There is no choke on it. I mean, you just gotta, you know, but again, when I started up cold, I'm sitting in it. So he did a full tune on it, got it running perfect. But so my thought was to just replace the short block with another short block, and that would solve any sort of issues with an oil pump or bearings or anything. But again, depend on what someone's used with it. You know, in the summer I work 15 miles from here. So in the summer, I use it as my daily driver. Again, it's got about 80,000 miles on it. I think I bought this, I want to say it had 69 or 70. What's reading on the odometer? I don't know if that's 180 or 80. But I put, you know, at least a few thousand miles a year on it, just driving it back and forth from work and on nice days in the summer, and taking the kids to ice cream and doing parades. It's about all I do. But so it's been a good car. I've had it for a few years. I've lost my storage, so I got to figure out a plan. I don't have enough room to keep this in my truck in my garage. And Michigan winters, you have to keep your vehicle in the garage, obviously. So So I got total 11.5 into it, and you know, if I could just get out of it, I would be happy. And if not, I'll throw it back into another storage facility and try to sell it in the spring. I'll probably have a lot better luck in the spring. I could probably make a little more, but so that's about how she runs and drives. So if you have any questions or anything, just message me. I got some pictures attached of the underside and the engine bay and everything, so let me know if it could work.